Hello everyone, I'm Paul McGuire Grimes. Channing Tatum took a couple years off acting, but is now back with a road trip story with an unlikely dog as his companion in the aptly titled film Dog. It's now in theaters and I want to talk about it. This is Paul's Trip to the Movies. Dog comes with a pretty simple premise, but one that's full of goodwill and heart. Channing Tatum plays Army Ranger Jackson Briggs, who's begging to be let back into the service following some time off due to some serious brain injuries. One of his fellow soldiers, Riley Rodriguez, recently passed away, leaving behind a temperamental service dog named Lulu. She's a Belgian Malinois who can pretty much intimidate anyone that crosses her path. Briggs agrees to take Lulu back home for Rodriguez's service, but the 1,500-mile road trip is wild and adventurous one between Briggs and Lulu, testing each other's tempers along the way. Channing Tatum is actually making his directorial debut here, as he is co-directing it with his best friend and frequent collaborator, Reed Carolyn. Carolyn also co-wrote the script with Brett Rodriguez. Now, I don't think that they set out to do anything too nuanced with this film, but instead just tell a really good story paying tribute to Army Rangers and that special bond that they have with their service dogs. It has that feel-good, earnest, human interest story vibe to it, with the shenanigans of a road trip thrown in there. At one point we see Briggs try to leave Lulu in the truck in order for him to hook up with two women, and another scene, Lulu breaks free, tracking down a pot grower and his wife in the middle of the woods. It's a pretty funny scene featuring Kevin Nash and Jane Adams. And Adams' character is actually a pet psychic and healer, offering up advice as to how to better understand Lulu. But for Briggs, this trip will really be about finding his purpose again as he builds that relationship with Lulu. The power dogs have over their companions can be a really strong bond, and we see that here between them. Reed Carolyn and Channing Tatum take a pretty light-hearted approach, despite their lead characters' really hardwired personalities. This role isn't too much of a stretch for Tatum, as he knows how to run his mouth and act like a tough guy, all while balancing that humor in the approach that Briggs has with Lulu. The film, I think, could have worked a little bit better if the script had really dug deeper into the role that dogs have in the military and why Lulu was so important to not only Rodriguez but now Briggs. Lulu comes with an I Love Me book, which acts as a manual regarding their personality and history, and many dogs have this. There's an impactful scene with Ethan Suplee talking about PTSD, and the film could have used even more of these moments and conversations to provide more vulnerable scenes for Briggs and really drive home the importance of these dogs. Dog is only 90 minutes, and while the first hour is that road trip adventure, it's that last 30 minutes, though, where the emotional end of the story comes into play, and will just make any dog owner just reach for the tissues. I'm giving Dog 3 out of 5 ticket stubs. If you like my review today, click subscribe on my YouTube channel. I got to interview Channing Tatum and Reed Carolyn, so definitely want to check out those interviews. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Paul's Movie Trip, and then go to my website, paulstriptothemovies.com, for even more reviews. Thank you so much for watching my review of Dog. This is Paul's Trip to the Movies.